Hello, everyone. Phil Lee returning with another episode of Civil War Chat. Today is President's Day, February 21st, 2022. The topic today is Return of the Cossacks. And what I'm thinking about is the situation in Ottawa, Canada, where the truck protesters were ridden down by a mob of Royal Canadian Mounted Police and other police in the Ottawa area. Many of them were on horseback. And in this day and age when iPhones are everywhere, there's a lot of recordings on the internet showing the brutal treatment that they gave the truckers. And in addition to that, the Prime Minister of Canada, a guy named Justin Trudeau, he's enacted, or he's made effective, a 1988 Emergency Act, which gives him the power to be essentially a dictator. And as a result of that, the truckers are being moved out, the police are being brutal. There are group conversations on Twitter between and among the Royal Canadian Mounted Police of don't get rid of them all today, leave some for us tomorrow, type of thing. There's just an actual there's an actual characteristic of brutality to those police as acting as a mob. And that's why I say it's kind of the return of the Cossacks. The freezing of the bank accounts for the truckers, and when you've had over $10 million donated from Canadians and Americans, people around the world, they can't get access to the money. It's frozen. They can't even access their accounts to pay for a bus ticket to go home. It is what we're witnessing it's the Canada's version of our January 6th. The riots are okay with the regimes in Ottawa and Washington as long as it's Antifa and Black Lives Matter and left-wing organizations, but it's not okay to resist the tyrannical regimes, particularly in Ottawa, but also in Washington. Now, the second point I want to make is all of this could have been avoided 7 years ago if politicians if we had stood firm and said, you're not going to do that you're not going to tear down our Confederate monuments. You're not going to do that. 7 years ago, overwhelmingly, polls showed that Americans saw the statues as Southern pride, not as some symbol of racial hatred. All this has been reinterpretation that gained momentum during that period because of Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden and the Democrat Party and the people that the Democrat Party has let take the leadership there. America should have stopped this 7 years ago by the people that tear down those statues. What have they done? What have they accomplished in their lives? Nothing. Nothing. And the people that they're tearing down, General Lee, during his time, he did own slaves. He didn't own slaves during the war. After he freed he didn't own any slaves during the war. His wife did, but he freed them. The father-in-law's estate owned them, and he freed them under terms of that estate. But he was also a great leader. I mean, compare him at Gettysburg, where he failed. He didn't blame his soldiers or his subordinates like this jerk Biden and like his Secretary of Defense and Chief of Staff General Milley. They didn't blame their subordinates. I mean, they blamed everybody but themselves. But Lee did not do that. He took responsibility for the failure of Pickett's charge right there in front of all his soldiers. And when he got his army back into Virginia, he wrote a letter to President Jefferson Davis explaining what had happened in Gettysburg and taking full blame for it, praising his soldiers and offering to resign. Now, you haven't seen that from the Secretary of Defense or General Milley, right? Those are the kind of characteristics I would like to see. And we get rid of that kind of a legacy or that kind of a tradition when we tear down the statues of the Confederates. So here's kind of what I want to conclude with on the third point. Defeating these people is going to be like mowing the lawn. You're going to have to do it regularly. You just can't do it once and say, okay, the job is done. I'll get everybody to take the red pill and we'll be okay. No, 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 no. You got to, or whatever the right pill is. And you've got to mow this, you've got to mow this lawn regularly. Now we're seeing some good signs. Last November, Virginia got a new governor, and the school boards, even the one in Loudoun County that resisted the new governor's order to make mask optional, they're going to make mask optional, but they're doing it on their own. The other thing is, more recently, last week, all of the school board members of the San Francisco School Board that could be put up for recall were put up for recall, and that's 3 of them. And they were all defeated, one of them by a majority of 76 to 24%, and the other ones by about 70 to 30. It was an overwhelming defeat for the so-called woke members of that school board who wanted to promote critical race theory and change the name of schools like Washington and Jefferson. Okay, so we're going to have to mow the lawn, okay? We just can't do one thing and say, all right, now it's all done. No, we're going to have to keep mowing the lawn. And what you can do to mow the lawn is learn more facts about the Civil War and Reconstruction. My book on Southern Reconstruction could be a great help to you in understanding what happened and help convincing other people that the narrative that we're getting now is lies designed to demonize white Southerners. Southern Reconstruction by Philip Lee, $26 on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. If you want an autographed copy, it's $29 for me, but you got to contact me, Phil_Lee at me.com, Phil_Lee at me.com. Okay, the last thing you can do is go to Amazon and Barnes & Noble, buy my books. If you like my books, please give them a 5-star rating. It really helps us out. We've got to work together on this. If you are helping me, and I appreciate it. You help me get over 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Thank you for that. Let's keep this momentum going, and let's get rid of the nonsense, the insanity, the madness that is overtaking our country and affecting Canada. I'm going to just repeat for emphasis. I think all of this could have been avoided if political leaders had stood firm and pumped the brakes 7 years ago on this tearing down of Confederate statues. Wait a minute, why do we want to do that? Is there nothing good about these people? Why were they being honored? Do they really were being honored because the people wanted to celebrate slavery and racism? Is that really what it was? It wasn't. Everybody knows that now. All right. But even the people that say it, even the people that make those accusations, I believe probably the majority of them don't believe it. Nonetheless, that's our show for today. And thanks for watching.